Hello children, hope you are doing fine. I hope you have watched my last video wherein I taught you about multiplication of integers. Okay, so today we will learn about division of integers. So are we ready? So let's get started. So let me first tell you what division of integers means. Division basically is an inverse process of multiplication. Inverse means opposite, the opposite process of multiplication. So let's say if we have to divide 36 by 9, that means we have to find an integer which on multiplying with 9 gives us 36. For example, a 36 divided by 9 gives us 4. It's because 9 ones are 9, 9 fours are 36. So basically, to divide 36 by 9 means to find an integer which on multiplying with 9 gives us 36. So which is that number which on multiplying with 9 gives us 36? It is 4. So it's 4 is that integer which on multiplying with 9 gives us 36. 75 divided by 15 gives us 5. So 5 is that integer which on multiplying with 15 gives us 75. Okay, so we have to remember two important notes here. Number one, what you have to remember, very important, is number one, division of an integer by an integer. So let me write it down for you. Division of an integer by an integer of same sign is always, any guesses? Yes, is always positive. Division of, this is the note number 1, which is very important that you need to remember. Division of an integer by another integer of the same sign is always positive. Let's say, if I have to show it to you in the form of a formula, it needs to be like this: one integer divided by another integer. Yields me a positive integer. Let me show you this with an example. Let us say, okay, let me take 24. So this is going to be the first integer. And let me divide 24 by 6. So I can write it down this way as well. 24 divided by 6. So it gives me 4. So now what is 4? 4 is a positive integer. What is 4? 4 is a positive integer. Now I got a positive 4. Let me now use the same number, 24, but this time I will make it as minus 24 divided by minus 6. Minus 24 divided by minus 6 gives me a positive integer. That means the emphasis here is on the same sign. So division of an integer by an integer of same sign is always positive. We have a same sign here. We have a negative sign in the numerator and a negative sign in the denominator. So the result is we get a positive integer itself as the answer. These two signs get cancelled. The note number 2 says division of an integer by an integer of opposite sign is always negative. So what did we learn in the note number 1? We learned that division of an integer by another integer of the same sign gives us a positive result. But here, if we have one integer which is positive and another integer which is negative, the result is always negative. Let me show this to you by using an example. So one integer divided by another integer gives me a negative integer. So let me show you by using some numbers. Let's now take minus 24 divided by 6. Let's use the above examples themselves. So minus 24 divided by 6. What we see here is, we see that the numerator has a negative integer and the denominator has a positive integer. So the result will be a negative integer. So the answer that we get is minus 4, because one of the signs is minus here. What did we see earlier? We saw that both were the positive integers, the numerator as well as the denominator. So the numerator had a positive sign, the denominator also had a positive sign, and the result was a positive integer. In the second example, we saw that the numerator and the denominator carried the same signs, the negative signs, but still we got the answer as a positive integer, because integer. Coming to the next rule, the note number 2, in case if we have either one of the integers, either the numerator or the denominator has, one of them has a negative sign, that time what we get is a negative result, a negative answer. Imagine if we take it the other way around. Let's take 24 as positive, divide positive 24 with a negative 6. So what we get is minus 24. Minus 4. That means division of an integer by an integer of opposite sign is always a negative. So here we have a plus and here we have a minus. Here we have a minus, here we have a plus. So 1 plus and 1 minus, or 1 minus and 1 plus gives me a negative result. Okay, now let's quickly sum it up. Positive integer divided by positive integer gives us a positive number. Negative integer divided by negative integer gives us again a positive number. Then positive integer divided by negative integer gives us negative number. Negative integer divided by positive integer gives us again a negative number. Now let's try to learn some terms. So the numerator 24 is called as the dividend. The denominator 6 is called as the divisor, and the answer 4 is called as the quotient. Okay children, now let us learn the properties of division. There are many properties of division, but today in this video I'm going to just cover 3 properties of division, since the videos that I'm making are really lengthy and I'm sure that would make you a little tiresome. That's why I thought I would cut short the videos, and that makes it possibly interesting as well. So today let's cover only 3 properties. The first property being, if m and n are 2 integers, then what? Then m divided by n is not necessarily an integer. So this is your first property. So the condition here, the property here says, if m and n are 2 integers, then m divided by n is not necessarily an integer. Let us try to understand by using some examples. I'll take the value of m to be 18, and I'll take the value of n to be 5. So I have m and n. Now I have to prove that the answer that I get here should not be an integer. You remember what integers are? What we did yesterday? Integers are I'll quickly reiterate that. Integers represented by I. Okay, so let's begin with the middle number, which is 0. Apart from 0 we have 1, 2, 3. These are all called as the natural numbers. So these are the positive natural numbers towards the right side of the 0, and these are the negative natural numbers towards the left side of the 0. Okay, so these are the natural numbers. Now the answer that we get here, when we divide 18 by 5, the answer that we get, or the quotient that we get, has to be either of these integers. It should be either the natural positive natural number, or it has to be a 0, or it should be a negative natural number. So together they are called as integers. So the answer when I get should be either of these. So let me see if I get either of these natural numbers. So 18 divided by 5. So let's cross check that. 5 3s are 15, and I'm getting a remainder. So we know this is a dividend, this is a divisor, this is a quotient, and this is a remainder. Now when I have to say 18 is exactly divisible by 5, in that case the remainder should have been 0. But since what we saw here is that 18 is not exactly divisible by 5 and we are getting a remainder of 3, that means 18 is not exactly divisible by 5, and the result of this is not an integer. So the integer has to be in the form of 1 2 3 4, or any of the positive natural numbers, or it has to be in the form of a 0, or it has to be in the form of any of the negative natural numbers. So we see that this still remains a fraction. Because 5 is not able to exactly divide 18, and it's giving us a remainder of 3. So this particular property has proved to be true, that if m and n are two integers, then if m is divided by n, it is not necessarily giving us an integer. So if it had to give us integer, then it wouldn't have been in the form of a fraction. Let us check out one more. So let's take the values of m and n to be, I'll change the values. Let me take the value of m to be minus 14 and the value of n to be let's say 4. Now let's see if m divided by n gives me an integer or not. So it's minus 14 divided by 4. Okay, what we see is we have a common divisor here, that is 2. 2 is the common divisor. So 2 divides 4. 2 2s are 4 and 2 7s are 14. So in that way I'm getting minus 7 by 2. 2 is the common divisor for 4 and 14. 2 is dividing 4 2 times, and 2 is dividing 7, and 2 is dividing 14 7 times. So further I'm not able to reduce minus 7 by 2, which is the answer of 14, minus 14 by 4, which is the answer after I divided it with the common divisor. But still what I see is this is not in the form of this. This is not in the form of integers. So again, this has proved to be true. The property number 1 has proved to be true. It says that m divided by n is not giving, or is not an integer. So it need not be that always when I divide one integer. So we know that minus 14 is an integer, we know that 4 is an integer, but when we divide 14 by 4, are we getting integer? We are not getting integer. So that means this property has proved to be right. So now let's check out the second property. The second property of division says if m is a non-zero integer, then m divided by m should be equal to 1. Let us now see this. If m is a non-zero integer, then m divided by m should be equal to 0. Let's check this with an example. So let us now take the value of m to be 12. So let's check now. 12 divided by 12 gives me 12 ones are 12 ones are, that gives me 1 by 1. So 1 divided by 1 gives me 1. So that means this property has proved to be also true. Hope it's easy. Let me just take another value for m. Now let's take the value for m, value of m to be let's say 17. So m divided by m should give me 1. That means 17 divided by 17. If I can write it in this form. 17 divided by 17 gives me 1. It is giving me 1. 17 ones are 17 ones are. So that's 1 by 1 gives me 1. So this property, the second property, also has proved to be true. Okay, let us now have a look at the third property. The third property says, for every non-zero integer m, m divided by 1 should give me m. So I'm taking the value of m to be 8. So 8 divided by 1 gives me 8. So this property also has proved to be true. It says for every non-zero integer m, m divided by 1 has to give me m. So it is giving me m. You see that? M, the value of m I have taken is to be 8. So 8 divided by 1 has given me 8. You want to check that out? Okay, let's check it out. So 1, 8s are 8. I've got a remainder 0. So what is the quotient that I got here? The answer, the quotient is 8. So 8 divided by 1 has given me 8. So m divided by 1 will give you m. So taking the value of m to be 8, I have got it to be 8. Let's use another example. Let's say let's take a negative number now. Minus 16 divided by 1. Let's see if we still get minus 16 or not. So minus 16 divided by 1 still gives me minus 16 itself. Let's check it out. 1 16s are 16. What have we got? This is a quotient, and that is what we got. So m divided by 1 has given me m. M divided by 1 has given me m. So taking the value of m to be 8, I have got the result also to be 8. Taking the value of m to be 16, I have got the value of m to be 16 itself. And hope you've understood, children. So have a good day, take care, and keep learning. Bye bye.